guys, it's Avery from A Very Avid Reader, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing the Do I Have That Book challenge. So I got a comment in one of my previous videos about this challenge, and I checked it out and thought it was really cool, so I thought it would be a fun video to do. Basically, the way it works is there's 20 prompts, and each prompt describes a different characteristic of a book, and you have to see if you have a book that goes with that characteristic. So like I mentioned in earlier videos, my book collection is actually split. So I have some books here at my apartment, and I have my big book collection at my parents' house. So I'm going to be going over there today. So I'm going to film some of the video here and some of the video there. So after I read each prompt, I'm going to look to see if I have it here first, and if I don't, then we might jump to a different location and see if I have it on my bigger bookshelf. So that's pretty much the gist of the video, so without further ado, let's jump into it. The first question is, do you have a book with deckled edges? I don't have any books with deckled edges here, but I do have one there. Hey guys, so here I am in front of my big collection, and I was actually looking through it, and I do not have a book with deckled edges. I could have sworn that I did. I've definitely read books that have deckled edges, but I don't own any. All my pages are smooth. Not off to a good start, but let's just keep going. Question number 2 is, do you have a book with 3 or more people on the cover? And I'm pretty sure I do have one here. Yes, I do. So I have The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. So I actually haven't read this yet. I think I picked it up from a thrift store like a long time ago, and I know that it's really popular and a lot of people like it, but I haven't read it yet. It's on my to-read list. As you can see, there are 4 boys on the front, so there we go. The next question is, do you have a book based on another fictional story? So for my book based off of another fictional story, I have Cinder. So Cinder by Marissa Meyer is very popular, and this book is obviously based off of Cinderella, except for Cinder in this book is a cyborg. So do with that what you will, but I love this whole series. The whole Lunar Chronicles was so good. Read it a long time ago, but really loved it. The next question is, do you have a book with a title 10 letters long? And I'm sure I do, so let's just look. Hey guys, it's Editing Avery here. So I definitely read the question wrong and thought it said at least 10 letters, so the book that I picked was not right, but I do have one, and it is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Ninth House has 10 letters, and that's my pick. This was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. Something new from Leigh, and I thought it was awesome. The next question is, do you have a book where the title starts with the same letter and ends with the same letter? So I'm not sure. That seems like it might be kind of tricky, so let me look. Okay, so this is actually a lot harder to find one than I thought. I don't have one here, so let's see if I have one in my big collection. I have Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick, and I read this book probably back in middle school. It's been a long time, and I really liked it. I didn't read the rest of the series. I think there's maybe 2 more, so I never read those, but I really liked this book. It was just a classic fallen angel falls in love with the girl type story, so I really liked it, and H&H, Hush Hush. The next question is, do you have a mass market paperback? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I wasn't sure what that was, so I looked it up and I got some kind of interesting results, but from what I gather, it's a paperback that is smaller than normal. It's because they're mass produced. I could be wrong about that definition. It was a little confusing to me, so if you actually know what it means and can explain it better, please leave me a comment and I'll appreciate that. But what came to mind when I read the definitions that I did was my copy of Wuthering Heights, and as you can tell, this is very small, and I think this classifies as a mass marketing paperback. So let me know if I'm wrong. The next question is, do you have a book written by an author using a pen name? And I know for sure that I have one of those here. So I have Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. So if you don't know, Cassandra Clare is actually a pen name. Chain of Iron, it was amazing. If you haven't read it, what are you doing with your life? I thought it was such a good book, and anything Cassandra Clare does is right. Anything she does is just correct. The next question is, do you have a book with the name of a character in the title? And for this, I chose The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin, and I absolutely loved this series when I read it. I think it was a while ago, but I loved it. It is very weird. It's a very weird series with sort of a paranormal feel to it, but it's also got a love story in it, and it's really good. So I would 100% recommend The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. The next question is, do you have a book with 2 maps in it? So I'm pretty sure I don't have one here, but I know that I do have one in my main collection. For my book with 2 maps in it, I have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. So this one has a map of the whole kind of world in it with all the different countries, and then it also has a map of the ice court, which they go to, obviously. And so yeah, I think that's the only one I have that has 2 maps in it. The next question is, do you have a book that was turned into a TV show? So once again, I don't have one here, but let's check out the big collection. So for this one, I have 2. One of them is Six of Crows, obviously, but I also want to do a different one. So I'm also going to do Looking for Alaska by John Green. So I know that they just came out with a mini-series, I believe on Hulu, of Looking for Alaska, which I haven't seen, and I don't really care to see because I wasn't a big fan of this book. I thought it was kind of dumb. So yeah, this one and Six of Crows I think are 2 that I have that were turned into a TV show. The next question, and I think we're on question 11, is do you have a book written by someone who was famous for something else? So I actually do have one of those here. I have 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. So I'm pretty sure that he is a very famous psychologist, and this book is pretty popular. My dad told me that he read it and really liked it. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard that it's just got some good tips in here for living life in a good way. Yeah, it says here that he is an acclaimed clinical psychologist, Jordan Peterson. So yeah, if you've read it or heard about it, leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. I know that it's pretty popular, and I think he actually just released a sequel with like 12 more rules for life. So that's interesting. One day I do hope to get to it because I've heard good things about it. The next question is, do you have a book with a clock on the cover? And I'm pretty sure that I have one here. So I have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is another one that I haven't read yet. It's actually like really high up on my to-read list. I think I'm gonna read it after I finish the book that I'm currently on. I've heard great things about it. I know that this is some people's favorite books of all time. But yeah, as you can see, it has a little clock on the front. So yeah, I have this bad boy. The next question I have is, do you have a poetry book? So I actually do know that I have one here. I had to read some poetry for an English class that I took last semester. I have Refusing Heaven, poems by Jack Gilbert, and personally, I'm not a huge fan of poetry. Sometimes I just don't understand it, and that just frustrates me. I'm just reading words and I'm like, I don't really understand what they're trying to say here. So when we did poetry last semester, I wasn't a huge fan, but there was actually a few in this collection that I really liked. As you can see, they're ones that I've tabbed here. But yeah, I think this is the only poetry book that I have. The next question is, do you have a book with an award stamp on it? And I'm not actually sure if I have one here, so let me look. A book that I have with an award stamp on it is The Giver by Lois Lowry, and this has an award for the John Newbery Medal, which is for the most distinguished contribution to the American literature for children. I read this book a while ago. I think it was in maybe middle school, and I loved it. This one also has a movie adaptation, which I believe was pretty good. And anyway, this book is really good. I know there's a series of them, which I haven't read. I've just read the one, but I really enjoyed The Giver. The next question is, do you have a book written by an author with the same initials as you? So this one seems like it might be kind of tricky to find. My initials are AD, so I'm gonna look, but we'll see. So I actually did find one book on my whole shelf with an author who had the same initials as me, and that is A Matter of Heart by Amy Fellner Dominy. I've actually never read this book. I have no idea what it's about either. I believe I got it in a subscription box, and I just never read it. But I did find one. The next question is, do you have a book of short stories? And I'm actually not sure that I have one of these in either of my book collections, so let me just look though. Okay, so I totally forgot about this book that I got recently when I did my little library video, and that is The Unfinished Novel and Other Stories by Valerie Martin. And if you remember me talking about this, this is a book of fictional short stories. That's what the back says, fictional short stories. So yeah, looks like I do. I haven't read this yet, but it looks pretty interesting, so it is on my list to read soon. I have a very long to read list, but you know, no complaints. The next question is, do you have a book that's between 500 and 510 pages long? So that's very specific, so we'll see. So I actually was able to find one book on my whole shelf that is between 500 and 510 pages, and it is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. And I actually started reading this a few years ago. I got it in a book exchange that I did in one of my classes in high school. It's just kind of like a summer romance book, but I think I got pretty bored of it, so I stopped reading it. But it is 507 pages, so it fits the parameters, even though I haven't read the whole thing. The next question is, do you have a book that has been turned into a movie? So I know that I have a lot of books that have been turned into movies, but this semester I actually just took a film and literature class where we basically read books and then watched the movie adaptation of it and then talked about it. It was a really fun class, so I have a good few books from that class that I can show you. I just chose 3 here that we talked about in class. The first one is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin, and if you've seen the movie, it's so good, and the book was great too. And it was actually, I think, the best movie adaptation from a book I've ever seen. It was word for word very, very similar to the book. I read the book first and then I watched the movie, and as I was watching the movie, I was like, this literally feels like I'm just reading through the book again. It was so close. So that was a great adaptation. Another one I have is Can You Ever Forgive Me by Lee Israel. This is a really short little memoir about her life. It says Memoirs of a Literary Forger. So she was a woman who forged a bunch of letters from old celebrities, and it was really interesting. The movie has Melissa McCarthy in it, and she did a great job playing her. The book was really funny. It had me laughing, even though she's committing crimes throughout the whole thing. You kind of root for her low-key, and it was really good. I thought it was really interesting. And the last book that I have is Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This book is crazy. It's a science fiction book, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought the book was really cool, and the adaptation has Natalie Portman in it, and the adaptation was also pretty cool. They took a little more creative liberties from the novel, whereas in these other 2 that I talked about, the movie stayed pretty close to the script, and this one the movie branched out a little bit, but it was really good, really interesting, kind of weird, but yeah, I would recommend. The next question is, do you have a graphic novel? And I know the answer to this. I don't have any graphic novels. I actually read graphic novels quite a bit in middle school. I think I read Smile, which was really popular back then. I remember in 5th grade, me and my friend actually read quite a few manga novels. I'm not sure if those are considered graphic novels, but those were I loved those. We read, I think it was called like the Majoko series, and those were really good. I really enjoyed them as a kid. So I don't have any graphic novels now, but I have enjoyed them in the past. And the last question is, do you have a book written by 2 or more authors? So I know that I have one in my big collection. I don't have one here, so let's go to there. I have Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, written by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman. So that has been my Do I Have That Book challenge. I hope you guys enjoyed. I thought this would just be kind of a fun video to do, kind of low-key. I'm going to leave the questions down in the description box in case you want to do it as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Also, leave a comment down below if you have read any of these books that I mentioned, or if you have any other books that you want to suggest to me that may have fallen into these categories. I also hope you guys liked seeing me film in this location. I might be doing it a little bit more over the summer. I think it's a really nice backdrop, obviously, because I have all my books behind me. But when I'm at my apartment, we gotta work with what we gotta work with. Hope you guys like this and are excited to see more of it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night or morning or evening, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video. Peace!